Good evening. So now we're going to talk about this first half. The economic context, as you know, is marked by a certain number of trends. Trade war between the United States and China, between Europe, the volatility of the dollar, the rise in oil prices, which has come up, in terms of geopolitics, the vote of the French defense procurement law, and this Franco-German partnership. I'll talk about this a little later. The European Commission has launched the European Defense Fund that prefigures some financial help for research and technology and for programs in European cooperation. The Brexit, you can follow whatever is happening every day and what could be the new conditions next year between the UK and the EU. The questioning of the agreements, the withdrawal from the agreement with Iran by the United States, and a certain number of conflicts in the Middle East. As for Rafale France, we have delivered 2 Rafales in the first half of 2018, 2 aircraft for France, 2 of the 3 that were there to refund the deliveries to Egypt. The 3rd aircraft will be delivered in the second half of 2018. So then we will have 28 Rafale to be delivered to France out of the 180 orders. So this is the second part of the 4th tranche, and it will begin only in 2022 because there will be no deliveries in 2019, 2020, nor in 21. The delivery of the 9th Rafale retrofitted to F3, the 10th to be delivered. They were following some former standards. Now they've been retrofitted. We've just finished with the 9th one, and the 10th will be delivered in the second half. The F3R standard will be delivered in the second half of the year, when we will begin our next standard, the standard F4. So this contract was signed, is being executed, and we're working on the 4th standard of the Rafale, which is expected by the end of this year. The military program law, there'll be an additional tranche 5, with some 30 aircraft after the signature in 2023 for deliveries before 2030. The launching of the MALE program, we talked about this in the film. Now we're going to potential contracts after the studies between the 4 countries, that is Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. Between these 4 countries, Germany has been mentioned as a leading nation, and we will have offers at the end of the year, and the contract won't be signed before the beginning of next year. As for the maritime surveillance fleet, the program law has confirmed that we will have 18 ATL2 to be retrofitted with the new standard instead of the 15 with the previous LPM. We'll be therefore replacing the maritime surveillance aircraft. Right now, these are Falcon 20, and little by little they'll be replaced, and we will be selling maritime surveillance aircraft. This is to be added to the electronic war aircraft that has been contracted based on 7X and 8X with the equipment of Thales. And in the military program law, there'll be an important appointment, which will be the renovation of the nuclear component, of the airborne component. Just a few words about the FCAS, the Future Combat Air System. As you've seen, based on the declarations made a year ago by the Chancellor and the President of the French Republic, Mr. Macron. A lot of progress has been made in this partnership because in the ILA show, the operational people have agreed on an envelope to prepare this area. There will be operational exchanges and there will be operational simulations, and then an agreement has been signed between Dassault and Airbus to share this work for the future. It's an agreement on principle. It's a partnership so that we can have a Franco-German partnership. And there was a board of ministers chaired by the Chancellor and the President of the Republic in Berlin in April, and a letter of intent was signed between the two ministers of defense to determine a roadmap so as to develop this combat system that, of course, includes a new combat aircraft for the years 2040. As for the MALE, I've said a few words about this. We hope to receive the contract. We are building the offer, and we hope to sign it at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. The Neuron is still flying. You remember the Neuron cooperation between 6 countries launched in 2013. It is pursuing its flight tests. There are improvements in stealth and especially the countermeasures. So we have obtained new markets, and this will allow us to see the Neuron fly for 2 or 3 more years. As for the exports of Rafale, Egypt will pursue the delivery of the aircraft. 4 aircraft are operational in the Egyptian Air Force, and 10 more Rafale will have to be delivered this year in the second half because no export aircraft was delivered in the first half. Qatar, the contract, the execution of the contract is being pursued. No particular problem. A major training activity, the training of pilots in the French Air Force, the training of the technicians in the French Air Force, and with the industrialists of the Rafale program. Everything is fine. The Qataris have come to visit their teams, and everything is being prepared to prepare the delivery of the first aircraft, which will take place at the beginning of next year. India, the contract is being executed normally. We're on time. We're working on some additional needs. We have answered a request for information for the Indian Navy. As you know, the Indian Navy would like to replace its current aircraft to equip the current aircraft carrier and the future aircraft carriers. So there was a request for information for the supply of 57 fighters, and we answered the questions. And the Indian Air Force sent us a request for information for the supply of 110 fighters, and we've just answered that. One of the keys is the Make in India. That's the political will of Prime Minister Modi to develop their capacity in India. So we're working in that area. As far as we're concerned, we've chosen the site in Nagpur. We are allied with Reliance. We've set up a joint venture. The work has begun. The construction of the hangar is underway, and we are training the future people who will be manufacturing these parts, whether these are parts of Falcons or Rafale. And we hope to obtain the first parts at the end of the year. And as you saw it in the film, I set up a first executive board committee outside of France, outside of Saint-Cloud, so that we can develop partnerships not only in the field of manufacturing, but also in the field of support and services with Indian partners. And it was not just Dassault Aviation, because with the GFAS, the entire supply chain went to India to find partnerships with large companies, but also with the SMEs and ETIs. And I've been following this mission, and there are a lot of small companies that are forming real partnerships in India to supply the supply chain. It's not only Dassault that is doing that there. For the Mirage 2000, we are pursuing the renovation of the Mirage 2000D for France. In India, we are pursuing the modernization of the Mirage 2000 in India from the Bangalore site with HAL. In the United Arab Emirates, after the announcement a little less than a year ago to remodernize the Mirage 2000-9, we are pursuing our discussions, our negotiations with the Emirates Air Force. And in all the teams, we have support teams to help fly the Mirage 2000. The mission aircraft, Japan has ordered a 5th aircraft for the Japanese Coast Guards. We are pursuing our work for the first aircraft that had been ordered. Germany, as you saw it in the film, we've sold a Falcon 2000 for the DLR. DLR is a large research center that will help us to make this aircraft a real testbed airplane to carry out some experiments that was wished by this large laboratory. France, Atlantic 2 is being renovated. They're on time. And I hope that we will obtain a contract with the state for the electronic warfare capacity Falcon. We will have a Falcon 7X or 8X. And the payload for the electronic war with Thales. And we're pursuing the improvement of the Falcon 50. We are adding a dropping capacity on for naval Falcon 50. Business jet market, as I told you last time when we met, things are improving. You can see it on the pre-owned aircraft market. We're selling a lot of aircraft. We have a lot of trouble finding a pre-owned 7X on that market, on the pre-owned market. So this market is more alert and more efficient in its sales. And the new aircraft market has recovered, and this mainly thanks to the United States. The United States has a good economy, as well as thanks to the Asia-Pacific zone. But I must say that there is a lot of pressure from the competition. We aren't alone, and we have our friends from Bombardier who are also coming out of this crisis and selling a lot of aircraft.
The 6X launched at the start of the year. This development has started. There's additional design work being done to integrate the new Pratt & Whitney engine. That's continuing. We're developing our adaptation, our retrofitting of the engine to fit out 6X in Pratt & Whitney's. We're really keeping a close watch on that, and it's going well, going forward very well. And we hope to be able to stick to our commitments in terms of delivering these airplanes by 2022. And the market is very much in favor of this. The market has taken very well the advent of the 6X. There are 5X clients moving on to 6X, but also clients directly wanting to purchase the 6X. So our current range, the 2000 XS, still up for sale, the 900 being sold, the 6X started its career, its commercial career. The 7X is pursuing its career as well, and the 8X, that is our flagship at the moment. Now, the new features then, quite apart from the sale of the new airplanes, we keep on improving our airplanes the whole time with services like the Falcon Connect service, which is a new feature so that clients who acquire this equipment can communicate at high speed using their telephone, their tablet, their smartphone, communicate with the outside world. And this, of course, is a key point in our pursuit of development work so as to make Falcon aircraft real flying offices, sometimes flying houses even. So on the cabin side, in terms of the cockpit as well, we've still continued with the Falcon Eye testing. This is a thermal camera that enables us to see at nighttime and in bad weather. And we have now validated and certified operational gains that will enable our planes to see in the nighttime and in bad weather conditions until more or less they arrive at the runway. So the future Falcon, I'll be frustrating you here. I put on a slide here just to frustrate you, sorry. Anyway, ongoing specifications, that's all. I won't say any more about that for now. we'll come back to it later on, but not today. Then the transformation plan that's underway, supporting our competitiveness efforts here in the company. It's first and foremost, as I said earlier, the main driver of things digital developments. And we have, of course, decided to implement the 3D Experience Dassault Systems platform. This is going to be key to launch a new plane I won't talk about, but it will be using the 3D Experience platform. It won't be just to use that to launch that new plane. This 3D Experience platform will become our reference platform more and more for our engineers going forward to design planes, to produce them, but also for all of the other services after that. So as to make for a digital continuum so that we can develop in parallel also big data, artificial intelligence that will bring us forward in many, many areas, especially services. In parallel, we have the industrial transformation plan going on, pursuing the work there too, in terms of transferring certain workloads from one plant to another to specialize them more. The primary parts going from Argenteuil to Seclin, for example. We're rethinking also some of our plants, some of our facilities to revamp them. You know, this transformation plan integrates upgrading of our facilities too, and this work is continuing apace within the company. I'll now move on to the actual financial results of the first half of this year. In terms of order intake, 18 Falcon airplanes in the first half. I should point out that the 18 airplanes, it's written in small writing here, but it's important. We went through the 5X order book. There are no longer any in the order book anymore. So we're taking in 6X orders, of course, the first orders, and we're still engaged in talks with many clients regarding 6X. And so in the 18, you have the first 6Xs, but the 55 is the new order intake. Well, we don't have 5Xs in there anymore. So we sold more airplanes than 18, but we also cancelled the 5Xs. So that is to be compared with the 14 we had last year. For military purposes, you got the 12 Rafale aircraft, the lifting of the Qatari option. Last year, there wasn't a contract for Rafales. Deliveries, we delivered 15 Falcons to be compared with 17 last year in the first half. 2 Rafales for France out of the 3 French ones to be delivered this year. So there'll be just one other one to deliver. And then we'll have to deliver Egyptian aircraft in the second half of this year compared with the 4 that were delivered last year. So the backlog 55 now, Falcon aircraft, compared with 52 at the end of last year, and 111 Rafales compared with 101 last year. So the backlog is going up. In terms of figures, then, the order intake, you see the order intake, 2.8 billion euro. This is all pro forma IFRS 15 based because we're using the new accounting standard there. And 1.2 billion for the Falcons, 1.4 billion the order intake for Rafales, the Qatari ones, and some support to be provided in the military segment, and then 0.2 for France. Regarding the sales, 1.7 billion, achieved 1.2 billion in Falcon, 0.2 for the military export markets. It was not Rafales, it was some support services we delivered, and then 0.3 for France. So the backlog goes to 20.5 billion, 2.4 billion Falcons, 15.1 billion Rafales for export, and 3 billion for France, including, in particular for France, the 28 airplanes we haven't yet delivered that we won't deliver until 2022. Regarding self-funded R&D, 143 million euro for the first 6 months of the year, mainly due to the fact that we slowed down a little bit our development work. When we went from 5X to 6X, we had to redo some design work. So a little bit less work in terms of cost for R&D compared to the 176 million euro that we spent on self-funded R&D last year. Then the actual income statement, you see the net sales, 1.709 billion compared with 2.068 billion last year, restated as per IFRS 15, by the way. These figures are restated. So the operating results, then 111 million euro to be compared to the 121 the previous year, last year. That gives us an increase in the operating margin, going from 6 going to 6.5%. It was only 5.9% in the same period last year. Financial result then, minus 38 million euro. The equity affiliates and Thales and other equity affiliates, well, you see it here at the figure, so we'll talk a bit more about it tomorrow. But regarding us, for our part, it's 134 million euro worth in our net income. Thales and the other equity affiliates. If we take out the taxes of 21 million euro, we get a net result of 186 million euro to be compared to the 166 million last year in the same period. The net sales a bit lower, and that gives us a net result margin 10.9% compared with 8% last year in the same period. That's an earning per share, net earnings per share of 22.4 euro compared to 20.2 euro last year. Regarding available cash, the Qatari contract brought in down payments, and we're starting in parallel to actually make the airplanes. So the inventories and work in progress will be going up in the coming few years. It's still increasing our available cash at the moment, and in the cash position we have a lot of down payments that will be made to enable us to produce the airplanes. So the cash is at that level thanks to the exporting of Rafales in particular. Now, I haven't changed our outlook and our objectives. They're the same ones as I presented when we reported the full year results for 2017. In particular, we're retaining the same objective for 2018, the delivery of 40 Falcons, the delivery of 12 Rafales, 9 export and 3 for France. You'll have seen we delivered 2 already, so that's 9 export to be delivered and 1 Rafale. That's 10 Rafales in the second half of this year. Also, we have to deliver the F3R, and revenues for 2018, the sales should be close to the sales figure we had for 2017, the full year. So that sums up our report on the half-yearly results, and now we'll take some questions if you like.